We want to show you how you can improve your vibrational point of attraction. And we want to help you to understand that that is really the only thing that you need ever give your attention to in order to achieve anything you want from this physical experience. You are source energy, pure positive energy in this physical body on this leading edge of thought. And when your circuits are open, you feel wonderful. And we want to show you how you can keep your circuits open under any and all conditions. But you've got to feel your way there. We've noticed that sometimes, even though you innately know that you should feel good and want to, and sometimes even unconsciously move from fear or despair into anger, in other words, it's sort of an impulse that is innate to you, as you make that move and you recognize that you feel better, it is important that you consciously acknowledge, I made this move on purpose. Because when you acknowledge that you were able to choose a thought that did give you relief, keyword relief, we'll come back to it. When you acknowledge that you did choose a thought that gave you a feeling of relief, now you have given yourself back your power. Because if you can move from despair to rage, you can move from rage to anger. And if you can move from rage to anger, you can move from anger to less anger. And if you can move from anger to less anger, you can move from anger to frustration. If you can move from frustration, you can move into overwhelmment. You can move into belief. You can move into knowing. You can move into ecstasy. But you can't do it all at once. And that's the thing that we really want you to hear. We think the reason that you have not effectively recognized your guidance system earlier on is because you innately tried to make the jump, but you tried to make a jump that law of attraction didn't help you out with. In other words, you cannot jump from despair into appreciation. It's too big of a jump. And so when your science of deliberate creation students of Abraham, art of allowing friends come to you and they see you in your despair and they say, cheer up, you'd just as soon kill them, wouldn't you? When they say, you know, you create your own reality, you want to say to them, that can't be true or you'd be gone. Because they're asking you to make an impossible jump. And we think that the reason that so many of you move from despair to fear to anger, despair, fear, anger, despair, fear, anger, despair, fear, anger. Fear and despair are very equal vibrations. Fear, anger, despair, anger, is because you haven't done it on purpose and you're not saying, I did it on purpose and if I can do that, I can do this. And if I can do this, I can do this. Because you can't do this to this. In other words, you cannot make that jump. It is irrational. Joseph Campbell gave you the best words we've ever heard come out of a physical mouth when he said, the key to joy and fulfillment of one's life purpose is to follow your bliss. And we agree with that wholeheartedly. But we also acknowledge that when you are in despair, you cannot get a whiff of bliss. So follow your bliss. But we want to say to you, the path from despair to bliss has some stop-off points. Rage, revenge, anger, less anger, frustration, overwhelmment, hoping, pessimism, optimism, believing, knowing. When you get up there in that range where you know your well-being, then all you have to do is poke around in the data and say, ooh, that looks good, and in it comes. When you come to the place that you know that you are worthy, and that it has never been unworthiness that has ever kept anything away from you. It's never been anyone else that's kept anything away from you. It has only ever been your vibrational ignorance. You're offering a vibration without knowing you're offering it. And we want to wake you up so that you aren't vibrationally ignorant. We want to help you to be aware that if it doesn't feel good, it isn't. That can't be hard. It just can't be hard. Some say, well, I worry, Abraham, if everybody did exactly what they wanted, wouldn't it be chaotic? And we say, if everyone were following the guidance that comes forth from within, and were reaching for thoughts, words, and actions that feel good to them while they offer it, there would only be well-being that abounds. But we don't want you to wait around for them to all figure it out before you let your well-being in. Not one other has to figure it out for you to live a glorious life. And by the way, the only way that you will ever be able to teach this is through the clarity of your own example. Words do not teach. It's Funny that we offer so many here. It is the clarity of your own example. Our words coupled with what you're living can sometimes bring you great knowing. But you've got to get out there and practice that. You've got to practice feeling good. You've got to say every day and mean it, nothing is more important than that I feel good. Today, no matter where I'm going and what I'm doing, I'm going to look for things that make me feel good when I see them. I'm going to do my best to feel the best I can right now about whatever I'm giving my attention to. I'm going to reach for the best feeling thought I can find now. The best feeling thought I can find now. Not the best thought I've ever thought. Not the best feeling thought I've ever thought. Not the best feeling thought anybody has ever thought. The best feeling thought within my vibrational range. If we were your teacher and we were grading you with A's, B's, C's, D's, and E's, if you moved from despair into rage, we'd give you an A. We would not ask you for appreciation and love for your A, because we want you to start giving yourself credit for any movement at all, because you know the slightest movement on the emotional scale puts you in an entirely different point of attraction. The difference between despair and anger is the difference between feeling control and things beginning to go your way. Things will go much more your way when you are angry than they do when you're afraid or when you're in despair. When you are in despair, you are a true feeling victim. Of course, you're not a victim because nobody else can vibrate for you. But things can't go well for you when you are feeling like a victim, when you are feeling despair. They just can't. But when you get mad, things will improve. We promise you they will. There's more power in that. You get to direct things. Now, it's a little bit of a rough ride. We don't recommend staying there very long. But if your only choice is despair and anger, go for anger. We'll be right there with you. We'll help you think of things to get angry about. And then once you've spent enough time in anger that you're stable, once you have been angry long enough, and we're talking about a few hours or maybe a day, once you've been deliberately, consciously angry enough that on that subject that you were feeling so much despair about, now you're angry, now you're ready to move into less anger, and we'll help you find less angry things to think about. And once you are less angry, you can jump into frustration. And once you're ready to jump into frustration, there's almost no place you can't go with a little bit of effort. Really. So we're talking about a couple of conscious days on each subject. So today you might clean up the subject of your mother, or your boyfriend, or your girlfriend, or your daughter, or your employer. In other words, today you might clean up one subject and tomorrow another, and the next day another. But you know, there aren't that many subjects, and most of the subjects dovetail into a sort of pattern of thought. So when you make the effort to move up the emotional scale relative to something, we always enjoy some blessed bugger getting in your life and poking you with a stick. We just love it when somebody rings your bells. Because if you are deliberate and conscious about your determination to move up the emotional scale, then that person has done you a huge favor, because they've helped you to highlight how you really feel on some subject. And it isn't until you know how you really feel on some subject that you can begin to consciously acknowledge the feeling of relief. So do you get it? Allowing what? Allowing your connection with Source and all the stuff that you consider to be good. Disallowing or resistance. Resistance of what? All the stuff that you consider to be good and your connection with Source. Allowing, resisting. And as you move from resistance to allowance, relief is the key factor. You feel relief. And when you move the other way, the opposite of relief. So you'll get really good at this. You'll get so good at it that you'll begin to recognize how you feel. And in time, you'll be able to separate what's happening right now that seems to deserve your attitude or your mood response and your emotional journey. In other words, you'll begin to recognize that you've got two concurrent journeys going on all the time. There's what's happening now, or everything that I've vibrated and everything that I've been attracting has led up to my culmination point, which is my powerful now. What's happening now? What's happening now? What's happening now? I'm 100 pounds overweight, and that's not going to change today or tomorrow. It is. We were visiting with a woman who said, I have arthritis in my hips and it is very painful. And we said, all right, now consider this. You can have arthritis in your hips. You've got it. It's not going to go away today or tomorrow. You've got arthritis in your hips and it is painful. That's what is. That's your current action journey. That's where you are. But you can have arthritis in your hips and feel fearful, the emotional journey. Or you can have arthritis in your hips and feel hopeful. And the difference between fearful and hopeful is the difference between whether it will stick around or whether it will go away. Do you believe that you could be living a painful condition, whether it's somebody died and your heart is broken or something's wrong with your body and it hurts? Do you believe that there could be two awarenesses going on in you at the same time? That there's this physical pain and there's this decision to feel a different way about this physical pain? Because until you accept that you can get this emotional journey into a place that feels better, you can't change what is. But once you get that, you can change anything. Everything will begin to improve for you. Many of you stubbornly say, well, then just give me evidence that things are going better and I'll feel better. Change the circumstances, then I'll change my response to the circumstance. And we say, that's backwards. You've got to find a way to adjust your vibration, and when you do, the entire universe will accommodate the shift in your vibration. More than 99% of every creation is complete before you see any physical evidence at all. Any at all. So you're nearly complete before the evidence shows itself to you. So we understand why you could get discouraged. You're working to feel better, you're working to feel better, you're working to feel better, and then you do that thing that you do where you take score of what is, you look at what is, and you let what is then dictate how you feel. Good. We think you got that. We are eager to talk with you about anything that is important to you. Many of you are wanting to know about similar things, and we can feel which of you will do the best job of getting it out here into a discussion forum where the most can hear about it. We do not see you necessarily because you are raising your hand, although raising your hand causes your energy to spike in a way that makes us easier to find you. If you have a desire and it is pulsing pretty strongly within you, we'll answer it whether you sit in the hot seat or not. When your desire is strong and your readiness to have the discussion is in place, you'll be called forward. If you are really powerful in your desperation to know something, it's harder for us to see you because you are squelching your own light of desire with your worry and concern. We say all of this by way of letting you know that we want you to not worry, to lighten up, to chill out, to be easy, and to expect a vibrational, emotional transformation to take place within you today. It is our expectation that if you are the slightest bit in readiness to receive it, that your vibration will be adjusted and you will be more in alignment with who you really are, which means in the days that follow, many of the things that you have been wanting will begin to show evidence to you. Good. We really should go now. We have enjoyed this interaction immensely. It is delicious beyond description to come together with those like you who are coming into full empowerment of your own experience. Be easy about this. Make peace with where you are. Look for reasons to appreciate your life and those around you, and most of all yourself. And coach yourself into more and more conscious alignment with emotions that feel good to you. And understand that wherever you are is all right and subject to improvement. But don't let the crevasse between where you are and the improvement you seek set you off balance so much that you lose sight of the direction that you are going. Let the emotions that are within you guide you, and don't lose track of what you want. And say to yourself on a regular basis, I'm such a good person and I came forth with such clear intent. And it is so satisfying to see my life unfold in the way that I've intended before I even got into this physical body. And I'm loving so much getting to put my 2 cents worth in from here. I am the creator of my own experience, and universal forces, God, and all that is will assist me in accomplishing anything that I desire. There are no limits for me. Say it often and let it be your experience. There is great love here for you. We are complete.